Welcome to the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. I am Spenser, and I'm one of your hosts on this wonderful podcast that we do. And today I am joined by the other two members of the League of Melanated Gentlemen who have come here today to bring you a part 2 for the MCU.
This is Brandon.
And I'm Jordan.
Now, hopefully you have already listened to part 1 of MCU villain ranking, which is the official LMG podcast. Official. But before we get into part 2, there are a couple of things that we need to discuss first. As I'm sure you know, we can be found on social media platforms. Jordan, would you please?
Yeah, like Spenser said, we are on social media. We are on Facebook at the League of Melanated Gentlemen. That is a Facebook group you can join. Request to join, then you can also join in on conversation, continue any of the conversations that we've had on the podcast, and just communicate with us, talk with us. We're always in there talking with everybody. You can also find us on Twitter at the LMG podcast. You can also follow us on YouTube where episodes are uploaded at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also rate and review us on our podcast, whatever streaming service that you use. Be sure to rate and review us and let us know your honest opinions. We really love to hear it, and also helps us out a lot when trying to be discovered. So yeah, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, rate and review. You got it.
Yeah. So do we have any programming things coming up?
We do. Good job for letting us know. So, new episode on Wednesday of Wrestling with Worldwide Willis. New episodes uploaded every Wednesday. And then next week, we will have an episode of DC Animation with Spenser and Friends.
Yes, indeed. We're doing things. We got a lot going on. Please listen to all of the things that we have going on. It's a holiday, so hopefully you're enjoying that. For those of you who get a day off, I know some people do not get any of that. So if you're working, thank you for listening to us on the job. Hopefully we have made your workday a little better, a little smoother. And for those of you who are not working, I hope we are making your day off a little better.
Now, go out there, enjoy Memorial Day.
And so, as I said earlier, we have a part 2 for you. In part 1, we discussed the MCU villains that we ranked from the bottom, 31, up to 16. Today, we will be starting at 15 and making our way to the top.
Spencer, you might want to remind them how we do the point system. It's always someone's first episode. Now, I don't know why they will listen to part 2 instead of listening to part 1, but go ahead and remind them how we decided with the rankings.
You're right. Some people do that, and that's okay. Yes. So to remind you how the ranking works, each gentleman in the league ranked the villains from top to bottom. There was a number of points assigned based on the ranking. So the top villain received 30 points. The bottom villain received 0 points. All of the points were added together, and that created the official League of Melanated Gentlemen ranking for these villains. So I will give you the number of placement. I will give you the villain, the movie, and then how many points each of us gave that villain and their total thereby. Any questions?
No, sir.
Nope.
Excellent. So let us jump straight in. For number 15 of the MCU villain ranking, we have Ultron from Avengers Age of Ultron. I gave Ultron 13 points. Brandon gave Ultron 14 points. Jordan gave Ultron 18 points. So Ultron came out with 45 points.
Okay. Pretty consistent all the way around.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think that Ultron was necessarily a bad villain, but I think that my comic book knowledge and my expectations based on the title of this movie led me to be disappointed by what we got from Ultron, because Ultron should be much more of a problem than he was.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
the movie was called Age of Ultron. So where was that?
Yeah, it's definitely the weakest Avengers movie, and it definitely didn't use Ultron up to his potential. Right, like I mean, as we know in the comic books, like he pops up everywhere, he dominates things, So it's kind of weird that they didn't use him all the way there and then kill him off. Just as we've talked about with other villains, it just doesn't make sense why they use him one time. They kind of like a, I don't know, monster of the week type of deal. And it's like Ultron's big time. Ultron's one of the best they have. So it's kind of weird that they just used him for one movie.
Yeah, one of the big, original villains. And I will say, so when I started like really getting into comics, my first comic book event that I kind of read for the first time was Age of Ultron, like the comic series. So when this came, it was announced before the movie was. So when I heard that it would come Age of Ultron, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good. We're gonna see Ultron just take over the planet. It's going to be a true Age of Ultron. But then in the movie, it's like we didn't get that. And I was like, just like Spencer says, like, where was the Age of Ultron? Like that was not there. And so that was pretty disappointing for me. I will say that he was a good villain. He was just severely underutilized. And do y'all think he's truly dead? Because I mean, we know Ultron, he can force his way into the internet, into machines, like all that. Y'all think
Right.
he really dead?
Ultron never dies,
Yeah.
but
Right.
the way the MCU handled him, maybe.
I just would think you would have brought him back by now, I would think.
Yeah,
Or
and
some sign of
especially
him.
with Tony being gone and
Right.
all that, like I kind of wonder if we'll see him again.
That's true. And I mean, especially since they changed kind of his origin of who created Ultron and things of that nature.
Because I'm also wondering, like, will Vision just be able to handle it if Ultron does come back?
Well, we don't know. We
Yeah.
got White Vision.
Yeah,
We got we. I mean,
we do have
we
White
don't.
Vision.
Yeah, we got
So we
White
don't know.
Vision. Yeah, I don't know
It's
if he'll be
true.
able to handle Ultron. Honestly,
Yeah, that's true.
We shouldn't be able to.
Matter of fact, Ultron might hack White Vision. We don't know.
oh, that would be good.
That'd be pretty good.
Oh, I would love for Ultron to come back now, and yeah, let that be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see Ultron come back.
Same.
I want them to do a better job of like
Man.
using Ultron.
And have Ultron take over, like since Tony Stark is gone, have him take over a lot of his tech, and then what Riri and who else?
Shuri,
Shuri and
Shuri,
and Bruce is still
all of
there.
them. Yeah, all of them have to figure out like
you can
what's
throw
going
in
on.
Reed Richards. Bring in Reed Richards to help out.
Yep, you could.
Yeah,
Maybe sprinkle a little Hank in there since he, actually created Ultron.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. They should. They
nod.
could really make Ultron like a true problem again. Like bring him back since Tony Stark is out of there.
Because that's
Right.
What If tried to do.
Yeah.
Like, What If
Oh,
tried
I
to
forgot.
make Ultron like What If did a better job of like presenting the fact that Ultron is a problem.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but then towards the end, that got real ridiculous.
Yeah, like this podcast wasn't the biggest fan of What If.
Yeah,
No.
not at all. I barely made it through.
But
yeah, a lot of those episodes were rough. But yeah, I mean, Ultron was good though. I liked him. Like I said, he was just underutilized, and I thought we were going to get a sneak. I guess we kind of did, not really. In Doctor Strange, remember the Ultron bots were kind of escorting Strange to meet the Illuminati.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I can definitely see
a Reed Richards tie-in would make sense there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, he's a top 15 villain, I think, which makes sense.
Yeah, so he made it into the top half, so good for him. But
right,
yeah,
still a lot of potential left for him, I believe, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we have a lot of villains that he's better than, but still not not spectacular, and just not what we wanted. We expected better.
Yeah. And I will say, Avengers: Age of Ultron ages a lot better than when it first came out. I'll say that.
Okay.
I never did really have a problem with Age of Ultron, honestly. Like I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was an okay follow up to the first Avengers. I mean, but it did establish a lot of new stuff as far
It
as
did.
like Sokovia Records. Like that was a lasting effect.
Yeah, it had a lot of moments in that movie with Cap picking up trying to pick up the Mjolnir and a bunch of different things.
Introduce Wanda.
A speedster dying by bullets.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, that was a little tough.
Wild. That was wild. Also, probably one of the best Hulks we've gotten. Hulk appearances.
Yeah, that was probably the last time I remember being like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And like thinking, okay, we might get a Hulk that we actually like, because we've discussed how we want Hulk to be a problem, and he just hasn't been. He's been poorly utilized as well.
Thanks.
And I think, that's ongoing. But I don't think it was a terrible movie. Setting. Yeah, I don't think it was a terrible movie. I knew he was
going to bring that up.
And I'm just saying. Oh, and also it set up Thor Ragnarok as well. So I mean, the movie set up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and it needed to. I mean, it was an event like it. If it didn't do any of that, then that would have been an issue. But I mean, it did that. It did all of these things and still wasn't spectacular. Like the fact that this is an Avengers movie and there are several solo movies that are better than this on the chart is telling. Because whenever you have like group movies, team up movies, like that kind of thing, like those should be in the top 10. And in the 32 movies that have happened, is Age of Ultron in either of your top 10s?
No.
Not that I remember, no.
Zachary. So
I will say, it did the job of setting up stuff. It just didn't hit like every other Avengers. Because even like thinking about how like it set up the relationship between Cap and Tony, like the whole like, Tony's trying to, Tony started to thinking, okay, I can save the world with this technology. I can just protect the world, and then that's what kind of corrupts his mind with starting to make Ultron and things like that. So that kind of started the rift. So we got a lot of great things out of it, but it just didn't hit like it was supposed to. And some of that is just, they just didn't use Ultron like we wanted them to.
Yeah, I was gonna say one last thing about Ultron. Is that our fault for knowing comics and we had expectations of Ultron?
I don't think so.
I also don't think so. I think that that's involved, but I think that for people who and people that this applies to can speak to this. I think that for people who don't know comic books, they weren't necessarily disappointed, but this is still lower on the list than it should be based on what the other Avengers movies gave us.
Yeah, I haven't seen a bunch of people like caping for Age of Ultron.
Like I have seen people say that they liked Age of Ultron, but I have never heard anyone say that this is not the worst Avengers movie of the four.
That's fair. That's fair.
And something got to be at the bottom, but the fact is, this movie is not as good as several solo outings. And
is Civil War the second worst Avengers movie?
Civil War is not an Avengers movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a Captain.
I'm sorry. I think of it as an Avengers movie,
which I get because it like pretty much
is a lot there. It's a lot there.
Like most of the roster,
whole Avengers group is there. Yeah,
like the roster shows up in that movie. So for most people, it's the second best Captain America movie. But you know where I stand on that. Civil War it rises to the top. But anyway, anything else on Ultron?
No, not for me.
Mm-hmm. Great segue for Captain America. Number 14, Red Skull from Captain America, the First Avenger.
Let's go getting disrespected out here. Come on, guys.
I knew this is how this was going to go. I gave Red Skull 15. Brandon gave Red Skull 25. And
Damn.
Jordan gave Red Skull 13.
Bro,
So-
Red Skull was fire.
Red Skull ended up with 53 points.
Bro,
Brandon.
Red Skull was really good, man. Even before he revealed his face, like who he was out here murking people, out here sending dudes on missions. Like, yeah, man, come on, man.
I mean, I preferred him in Infinity War than in
I knew you
the
were
first
gonna say
Captain
that.
America. Yeah, I really did.
In-game, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that adds to the lore. That adds to it, but no, he wasn't really a villain in that.
Was that the same actor?
No.
Oh, good. They
I
should
don't
have cast
think
that
so.
dude in the first Captain America movie, who did the in-game version.
No, the dude from the first one was really good.
Yeah.
Nah.
Right.
Nah.
You might be confusing this with a different movie. The dude was really good, bro. The dude blasted a couple Nazis with the gun just because they wasn't, he wasn't listening to Hitler or whatever. It was really good, bro.
Did we even see Red Skull fight in the first Captain America movie? I don't remember. Was he hand to hand fighting?
A little bit. I mean, with Cap.
talking.
I was gonna say,
I'll be honest.
this movie,
His ass.
I wasn't gonna say
Shut
that.
the fuck up, man. You're
But-
wilding.
We have so many other villains on this list that were way better than Red Skull, and it's blasphemy that Brandon gave this thing a 25.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. Like I knew this was gonna happen.
There's not that
because-
many. I mean, there's
Brandon-
not a ton of villains better than him, honestly.
Oh, we're gonna
Ultron
talk
is
about
better
all the
than
ones
him.
that are.
Yeah, Ultron is better than him.
Hell no.
Spencer,
Yeah.
what you think?
I mean,
I
obviously, if he's
I
higher
ranked
than him,
I ranked Ultron lower than Red Skull.
thank you.
Because I will say what got Red Skull a lot of points for me was performance more than him as a villain. And y'all know that I'm not the biggest fan of the movie Captain America: The First Avenger. And that's no secret. We know that Brandon will defend that movie to his dying day.
Oh,
Boy, drinking
absolutely.
a straight Kool-Aid from Captain America.
But
Bruh, it introduced the Tesseract. Come on,
the
man.
the thing is about Red Skull, it's not that he was bad, it's that there are several villains better than him. And so that's why he ended up right at the halfway point for me. And that's just how it happens. The MCU has a lot of quality, and Red Skull made it into the top half. We did not talk about him in the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, so at least there's that.
Man,
Now, just like any other time we do this, Brandon is now going to be taking every single person henceforth and
Nah,
comparing them to Red Skull.
You damn right.
facts.
He did the exact same thing with the movie whenever we did the MCU
Damn right.
movie draft. And so now we're doing it with the villain from the same movie. I
You're
knew this
damn
would
right.
happen. And so I can't wait. He's
If,
gonna be everybody that Brandon put under Red Skull, he's gonna be pissed when he hears their name because they're higher than Red Skull.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
if Captain America need an official pole polisher, like Brandon is first in line.
bruh,
Wow.
First of all,
Oh my.
I'm sorry, I connect with the character. I actually care about Marvel, and I don't just care about only the X-Men. I
Oh,
just care about the whole
No.
universe. And Cap is the best. I mean, he's the best. Ever since he's left, Marvel's been yeah, there's a reason.
This
I
man
wonder if we did a
said-
poll who's better out of Cyclops and Captain America.
Get the
Who
fuck
people
Not
vote?
Cyclops.
Nigga, what?
Not Cyclops.
I wonder
Not
who people
The
Cyclops.
vote.
corniest character in history? Stop.
Not Cyclops. You gotta go somebody else.
Nigga's
Not
a
Cyclops.
simp. What are you talking about?
Just saying, hey, I'm just saying. I'm curious what people will vote.
Nigga's a simp and he's a trash leader. What are you talking about? Cap is actually a great leader, respected by all. Cyborg, even Wolverine be like, get the fuck out
Just
of
call
here.
him Cyborg.
He did. I was going to let him have it.
Oh,
That
my bad. Yeah.
No. We'll never let me
That
have
was,
it.
that was a
We'll never let
typo.
Brandon have it.
It was just a typo. Like, we
My
knew
bad,
you
like-
meant Cyclops.
Cyclops, he's Cyborg, whatever. He's not important. I mean, he's about the third, fourth most important X-Men. Maybe fifth. I don't even know. He's not.
I will
Like, that's
say-
a terrible comparison.
Literally, in any X-Men situation, he is probably the one I give the least fucks about.
Yes, he has nothing.
Like,
He's the wannabe Cat.
I've never, no, Cyclops is
Damn.
not a great dude. And I think that, because I'm not a huge Captain America guy, I would pick Captain America 7 days a week before I pick Cyclops.
Okay.
Garbage.
Except
He don't
let
even
me ask
control his
y'all.
powers.
Let me ask y'all. Hey man, it's hard sometimes. You hit puberty, you gain powers. Like, come on, man. I didn't know how to ride a bike at one point. Look at me now. All right.
What is?
So let me ask y'all.
I
do
said,
y'all
but
think
Cyclops
Red
still needs
Skull-
training wheels, is Brandon's point.
exactly.
Nah,
The grown
he
ass
pro.
man.
He a pro now. He a pro. Do y'all think Red Skull in Endgame looked better than Red Skull in Captain America 1?
I
I
don't
put up
think
two
so.
images. I put up two images of him. I think he looks a lot. I think he looks better. He looks a lot more terrifying to me in Endgame.
Well, we're
What?
talking about an almost 10-year advancement
That's what I was also going to say too. Yeah.
technology. So I think he looked really good in the first Avenger, and in Endgame and Infinity War, like, he was Cloak pretty much.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, you saw his face. There's definitely a little more detail in his
Kind of like
in
Palpatine.
Endgame. But yeah, it kind of does. But like, yeah, I just think it's the way they pulled that off in Captain America with it being early on in the MCU. Yeah, it was really good.
I will say that was a super hype moment in Endgame when like you realize it's Red Skull. You're like, oh, that's where he went.
That was the
Yeah.
one thing that got me. Like, in
Yeah.
that movie, everything else I was somewhat prepared for, or I could, I was cool. But that's the one thing that was my oh shit moment in that movie,
Yeah.
was seeing Red Skull. Like, that's probably not the point where I should have lost it, but like, watching that movie for the first time, that's when I was like doing the whole oh shit, my mind is blown thing.
Yeah.
Do y'all think Red Skull was wasted? Like he should have been a little in and out the MCU a little bit more, or you think it was fine to send
I
him
think
related to one
well,
time?
it's tough with the time period. It's tough. I mean, I guess he doesn't technically need. I guess he doesn't age. I don't really know his huge
Right? Yeah,
of his
he
backstory.
don't really age.
So I mean, I would have loved to see them kind of he continued to live also as same as Captain America. Maybe you use him for some of these shows you got, with Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, or some of these other things. They're more like
Leader of the
street level.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah, like some more street level. Because I mean, he's not. I mean, he's out here trying to get like cosmic stuff. For the most part, he's not like trying to take over the world with like cosmic powers or anything.
Yeah. Well, there was that one time he stole Professor X's brain and he developed telekinesis and telekinetic powers and all that. But yeah, I think I honestly think they did okay by not bringing him back too many times, because like I don't know how society, how soft we are, would allow a Nazi person to continue showing up.
Yeah,
Like, I wonder
you
if
might be
people.
right.
I wonder if people would be like, why are we celebrating this dude? Like, why are we having him more screen time when he's a literal Nazi?
Yeah, I would have figured they would have used him to do the Cabal, but I think because they used Thanos at the top, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I remember the Cabal in Earth's Mightiest Hero. Was that Namor, Red Skull?
The squad,
Who was
who's on the squad changes all the time. It depends on which version of it you have, but based on the animated shows, yeah, like I know it as basically Marvel's version of the Legion of Doom or the Injustice League, run by Red Skull, and it's a group of villains who are going against the Avengers, much like the Injustice League does with the Justice League. That's my understanding of the Cabal, and if Red Skull was going to come back, I would figure that's what they would do, but because that would be like a large scale situation.
I mean, maybe you could do that versus Thunderbolts. Something
Yeah.
like that. But I mean, the Cabal is kind of high end.
That's big ticket because
Yeah.
it's literally usually, as far as I know, it's used as a nemesis versus nemesis situation. So it's a group of supervillains pretty much per Avenger.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, who we got next on our list?
Okay, so coming in at 13, we have Hela from Thor Ragnarok.
How the
I
hell? Go ahead, Spencer.
I gave Hela 19 points. Brandon gave Hela 23 points. Jordan gave Hela 17 points. So Hela came out with 59 points.
That's pretty close, though.
I
That's
mean,
pretty
it
close for
is.
all of us.
It is, but yeah, there's no way she shouldn't be. To me, she should automatically be in top 10. Even if it's 10.
Top 10?
She should be top 10, bro. She destroyed Mjolnir. Like, she's the reason, you know what I mean? Asgard is gone, pretty much. But, like,
Hela was a fucking problem.
She was, but top 10?
She destroyed all the Valkyrie. Like,
Hela was a problem. Like,
a problem.
You want to talk about effective?
Yes.
Hela was
Executed her
very
plan
effective.
really well. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I agree, but not top 10. She was good. I'll give you that. Like, she did really good. I really have like no qualms with her, but for me, not top 10.
She only barely didn't make my top 10, but she's very good. And the fact that Odin had to say no, she needs to be banished. Like, she needs to not be around in order for everything to be okay. And then the moment he died, she got out and started raising hell.
Dude, that's really his fault. I'm gonna be honest. Like, that is a plot
for dying.
Alone, like, no, for not telling Thor and Loki about her.
Yeah, that was
like, how y'all been around thousands of years and you failed to mention that they have a sister.
Yeah, that was not a good move. Like, family secrets be crazy.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a family secret. It's a whole nother thing to be like, yeah, you got a sister that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, like, she's a problem.
Took out all the Valkyrie, and I have no way to control her. So yeah, let's make a game plan for just in case she does get out. Let's make a game plan.
Yeah, let me write y'all some instructions. Something.
Yeah, like, you couldn't tell her. You couldn't tell us her powers. You couldn't tell her weakness. You couldn't tell her what she looked like. Like, come on, give me something.
Sorry, Hela was fire, bro.
Yeah, Hela was a problem.
She looked great.
I really liked Hela.
Like, her powers look good on screen.
She's one of the many who were just wasted. Like, we assume she died with Asgard,
right?
Didn't Surtur take her down? Yeah.
And I don't know what he did after that. Like, he destroyed Asgard, and it was like, all right, I guess I'll go back to sleep now.
I mean, she could not be dead. Maybe she could be down in hell, like, running it like she does in the comics.
Yeah, we don't know
that version of hell. Yeah,
we're gonna see.
I hope they bring her back, because.
So, just a question. As I'm sure you both know, in the comic book, she is not their sister.
Right. So, or in what's that history called?
In, Norse mythology.
Yeah, Norse mythology. Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you, what, knowing comic books and or Norse mythology, what were your thoughts on the MCU's decision to use her as their older sister?
I didn't love it, just because it was, again, like, the fact that they didn't know about her. She's this powerful. Like, no one told you. Nobody was like, yo, back in the day, Hela was crazy. Odin had to do, like, you've lived all this time. They didn't tell somebody about Hela.
And I also wonder if Freya was her mother, or if that was pre-Freya.
Like, they didn't even bring that up.
Yeah.
Like, Odin was out here banging chicks and,
I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. You just said that. I didn't think about who the mama was.
Yeah, like, they didn't even bring it up. And, like, yeah, it just didn't make sense, bro. And she had already, and I guess Freya, I guess she'd already died at that point. But Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. I would have preferred her coming from her original story, because I feel like she's way more powerful that way and has more of a connection to Loki that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say trying to explain that she's Loki's daughter may have been challenging,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't know.
I was going to say, like, for me, I think the nerd in me was like, so I just mentioned reading Age of Ultron. So on the very last couple panels of Age of Ultron, they introduced the character who came from the Spawn universe, Angela. Angela came over in Age of Ultron last page or whatever. And then they eventually said that Angela is is the sister of Thor. And so I remember when this Hela stuff came out in the MCU, and I was like, oh, that's her sister. And I was like, dang, they could have introduced Angela at this moment, which is also a pretty cool character. And
Because that's
also, then I was like,
no,
I
no,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
say that's but then I was like, yeah, like you guys just said, like, how would they explain Hela being Thor's daughter? I mean, not Thor's, Loki's daughter, because it wouldn't make
right.
any sense. So I was like, I guess that's fine, but yeah,
Yeah, like I think it shouldn't have been Hela.
yeah,
Because I'm sure that in Norse mythology, Odin has a gaggle of kids that they could have pulled from.
Yeah, true.
But you know what? Hela has some name recognition, and so I guess that's why. And they wanted to do the whole goddess of death thing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Thor low key has some of the best villains, like especially with the creation of Gore the God Butcher. But like it's just misuse. And I mean, this obviously wasn't as bad as Gore the God Butcher, but it's just I don't know. That again, the Monster of the Week theme, where I think the problem is they're getting these big actors who don't want to be, in 8 movies. They just want to do
yeah,
one and get up out of there. And so they have to just, you know, add a character who has so much comic book history, but then treat them as, they're only here for a day, get beat up, and then they're done.
yeah.
So I mean,
Man,
I
I
don't
just think
know.
about how cool that scene was when Hela is like the slow motion. You just see all the Valkyrie right there, and like she's
That
going
was
up against
beautiful. That
him.
was one of the most
Oh yeah,
beautiful shots in
that was a
MCU history.
great shot.
Yeah. Like, and Hella just has so much history. Like, I feel like she's tried to get with Thanos a few times. Like, she has a bunch of history.
Well,
Just,
yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know. It's
yeah.
tough.
Especially with Thor being like one of the original characters
Right.
created for Marvel. So yeah, a lot of his universe, like those characters have been around for a long time.
Right.
Brendan, I heard you try to sneak that in there. Malekith brings Thor's villain situation down significantly. Don't think you're just about to sprinkle that in there like Thor got some of the best of it. No, he
I
doesn't.
mean, he low key does. I mean, all right, who has a ton better?
Like, who has a better set of villains? I
Yeah.
would say Spider-Man does.
Okay, I'll give you Spider Man. I'll give you. He's up there too. I'll give you Spider Man. But then who else?
Honestly, I might
Captain
give you
America
Ant Man.
does.
I
You
might
might
give
give
you
me
Ant
what?
Man as well.
Captain America definitely does.
Uh,
Uh, on that Ant-Man comment, I'm gonna let you ride because
I
I
mean,
firmly disagree.
I disagree on that.
I mean, we haven't even talked about one of the characters that was in Ant Man movie.
Yes, you're right, but we have talked about one of the characters that was in an Ant-Man movie.
She is literally last.
And then Yellow
So
Jacket. What about Yellow Jacket though?
I like Yellow Jacket, but y'all didn't necessarily love him.
And I was gonna say, like, if we're talking Yellow Jacket, Ghost, Kang up against Loki, Malekith, Hela, and Gore.
Oh well,
Uh
see, he got 4 of them. It's not fair.
oh, okay.
Name wise, I feel like Thor is better. But yeah, I agree. The execution isn't as good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like Thor. Okay, so you're saying Thor's
Yeah,
catalog of
like
villains.
in his catalog, exactly. I'm thinking saying
Hey,
more like
okay.
comic book
Oh, okay,
catalog.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
some of the
Okay.
better villains.
No, you're right
Whereas,
about
yeah,
I can agree with you there.
yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
MCU, yeah, I'll give you that. It's a few that's trumped him.
Okay. Okay. We're good then. Okay. So
He came through it back too. He's like, Brandon, hold on.
so we have a tie for 11. And the first one we're going to discuss is Loki. Now,
Wow.
before we discuss Loki,
Oh, yeah, let the
Loki
people know.
Loki is the reason we have 31 instead of 32. As we discussed, we have 32 MCU movies to date. We decided to do 31 villains. Loki is representing Thor and Avengers.
Correct.
So we decided not to split Loki in this regard. We discussed it, we talked about it, and we thought we could use the Frost Giants for Thor, but that didn't really hold up.
There.
And the Destroyer is just a tool, so like not really able to speak to that. So that is how, and Thor, the first Thor ends with Loki like on the throne.
Right.
Yeah. So we just, and of course, Loki is the main villain in the Avengers movie, and it's the same character, and we'll talk about why that's important a little bit later as well. So I gave Loki 21 points. Brandon gave Loki 17 points. Jordan gave Loki 24 points, and so Loki ended up with 62.
24?
Brandon, you put Loki significantly lower than Red Skull.
That is insane.
I did that because I don't think he was a villain most of the time.
We're talking about the time when he was a villain.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Like, what?
I'm saying, but he usually was not the villain most of the time.
Who was the villain in Avengers?
I mean, sure, he was in that one, probably more than not. But
who was the villain in Thor?
And he was kind of like he was running errands for Thanos. So it's not like homie was out here just conniving, coming up with a ton of plans.
If that's the case, Thanos was letting everybody just run and collect everything for him.
If that's the case, then there didn't need to be a discussion about Ronan at all.
True, but like that's why Ronan is back, because it wasn't like he had a full plan that was all his fruition. Like he literally was doing something for Thanos and then just decided to take it up for himself. In this case, Loki was like, all right, I'm gonna take over the world. Oh, I need Thanos. I need your army to do this. Like he didn't have the resources. He was given everything to do what he did. It's not like he came up with this genius plan to execute. It was all Thanos. So I can't.
I mean, we don't know. We don't necessarily know if the whole planning was Thanos. I mean, Thanos just told him to go with the stone.
Yeah, he gave him the stuff.
Loki chose to do it by any means. Yeah, but so then, what about the first Thor? Is he not the villain?
He's a villain, but was he a great villain in that?
Yeah, say a lot of what Loki's like. A lot of the heavy lifting for Loki for me was in Avengers.
Yeah,
because Loki's whole plan to use the Mind Stone and then turn the Hulk against them in the helicarrier and like all that was really good stuff. And
all his monologues.
Yeah, Loki had really good monologues. And the fact that he was relatively successful in that he was able to send a swarm of weird alien things to New York and cause a ruckus. But Loki was like heavy on the performance for Loki. Yeah. And he was what needed to happen to bring the Avengers together. Like he was a big enough villain where they said, we don't really like each other, but we need to put our differences aside to make this thing happen. And, of course, Nick Fury kind of used the death of Coulson to make that happen. But Loki killing Coulson is what, spurred things along and what got us the Avengers. So if it weren't for Loki, the Avengers Initiative may not have needed to happen when it did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I agree most of it, but like, again, he was running errands for Thanos. Now, did he execute the plan? Well, what Spenser said, the performance, amazing. Like, obviously.
Yeah, like but Tom Hiddleston? Oh, yeah.
I kind of look at Loki as like, I don't know. When I think of him, I don't think, oh, that was a fire villain. I think of, basically he's a better good guy than he is a bad guy.
Okay, I think he's a really good antagonist, and not as far as like a main antagonist, but like I feel like anything that he appears in is like amplified once he shows up.
And
I agree.
I think that with what you just said, I think that Loki may be at the disadvantage of not being a villain anymore for you. Just like how Jordan was saying, don't be a dick, Darren. Like, he's holding that against, he can say all day that he's not, but he's holding that against Yellow Jacket.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you are holding against Loki the fact that after the Avengers movie, he wasn't a villain anymore. And so you are not seeing him as a villain. And so if we're looking at 2012, then, you know, Loki is going down as one of the best villains.
Oh, yeah, he's one of the best. Probably top 3 if we're talking 2012. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top
but the fact that Loki has been pushed all, like, he was the heel and then they made him a face.
Yeah, he did a turn and now they put the belt on him and pushed him. And it's like, okay, if I'm ranking my biggest heels of all time, it's hard for me to say you're the greatest heel of all time when you're a better babyface, essentially.
Yeah, and so I think that's why you have him as low as you do. But you know, that's the kind of thing that happens with time.
Right.
So
I mean,
like there was a time when Dr. J was in GOAT conversations, and now not so much.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if we did this before the Loki series, probably be closer to the top.
I was going to bring up the Loki series because what about his variants? His variants, you know, just their little performance was very good, and they are the villains, right? And
They were great, but they weren't.
They don't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, they weren't villains though.
They were. What up? The old man Loki? They all were villains at some point.
Yeah, I mean, he literally saved Loki. He, at the end of the day, he literally saved Loki to allow him to go to the whatever.
Yeah, like in there were some evil Lokis and some not so evil Lokis. Like in that whole,
some might say they're the ones that defeated Thor are the evil ones.
Jordan, anytime you say some might say, I know something wild is coming.
Some people say cucumber tastes better pickled.
Irrelevant is coming. Yeah, no.
Goodness. I mean, yeah, you know, that's how this goes. So yeah, I think that in Avengers, Loki was very effective, and Loki, I mean, he's the OG, and I can probably admit that that's probably what gets him more points for a lot of people than it should, is the fact that he's the OG and like he was the first big bad. And so being the first big bad, just for a lot of people, it gave him everything. I think that nostalgia is probably right. There are a lot of people who rank Loki in their top 5 purely based on nostalgia.
So, yeah, because I feel like.
Oh, what was you gonna say, Brandon?
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you take out Loki in that situation and put in, I don't know, freaking somebody random, I don't know. I think that person you put in that spot gets held higher just because they're in the first Avengers movie.
Depends on how good it was. If Age of Ultron was the first one.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, you see, Ultron,
we might not be having this. Yeah,
you see, Ultron didn't do well.
He didn't do well, but I'm saying that was a perfect position. You were literally Thanos. You had the Avengers. Like there was no real miss in that case. Like that's the first time we saw the Avengers. Now, the second time we saw the Avengers, okay, cool. It's not it's a wear off effect. Whereas the first time it was like, oh snap, Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man all together. Like that automatically had you in. It didn't matter who the villain was.
So let's say we do an episode where we rank all of the good guys in the MCU. Does Loki make that list?
Yeah,
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, he could be on the list, but he not gonna be. I don't know how high he'd be.
But I mean, shit.
I don't even know I don't even know if he counts as a good guy on the list though.
What do you mean? He was a good guy.
What has he done good?
He's the protagonist of a series. Like he literally counts. Like he has a show.
But what did he do good? What heroic moment did he have that wasn't self-centered?
He did get help.
When? What movie?
Like he's helped. I remember in Ragnarok, he helped Thor plenty of times.
Was that out of self-interest or was that to help his brother?
he sacrificed. Well, he didn't sacrifice himself to. He tried to, be a hero at the beginning of Infinity War.
I tried to be a millionaire, but I mean, hey, it didn't work out.
I'm saying though, like for the most part, he tried to help his brother numerous times. Now, did he have a backup plan? Sure, but I mean, helping somebody's helping somebody. He even helped him in Dark World.
But was it out of self-interest though?
Hey man,
Tony
Stark do some shit out of self-interest. That don't mean he's not a hero.
But he has the world on his mind. That's what he's trying to help out.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like self-interest could mean like keeping it like me safe, but also everybody safe, but also me safe.
Exactly.
We might have to rank all the MCU heroes.
Yeah, I think we know.
But
we know what time that is. But that'd be fun to see where y'all got, because I feel like
Brandon's number one.
Let's let some more movies come out and then we'll do that.
Yeah. That's fine.
And we may include TV show folk with that because Moon Knight will not do well.
He didn't have to throw that in there.
Moon
Knight, bro, he out here chilling, living his best life.
Wanted to make sure.
Strays. Moon Knight might be the worst TV character, protagonist.
That's very sad to hear.
Yeah.
What we got next, Spencer? What's on the list?
Because I was gonna say Wanda, both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the only, if she was Eva the whole time, she'd be higher up on my list.
But also tied with Loki, we have Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. So I gave Vulture 24 points. Brandon and Jordan gave Vulture 19 points. So Vulture ended with 62 as well.
Okay, pretty close.
Yeah.
Now, I clearly liked Vulture more than y'all did, and that's fine. I thought Vulture was really good because we don't get street level very often. It feels like at one point we did, and then there's a bunch of like, oh, the world is at stake. It's like, why? Why does the world have to be about to end for there to be a problem? And one of the good things about Spider-Man Homecoming is that they kept things contained. And Vulture was literally just trying to provide for his family. And I could relate to that. Vulture was trying to protect his daughter. I could relate to that. Vulture was just trying to make sure that he was okay and that his family was taken care of. And he was like, I will do whatever needs doing to do that. And if that means taking out this fucking kid who's getting in my way, that's how it's got to be.
You know how much I love Homecoming.
Yeah, so the fact that Vulture was able to deduce in the car that scene was so good.
That was a really good scene. I almost forgot about that.
Oh, that scene was so good. And so Vulture for me, that performance and the character were very, very good. And I'm surprised y'all didn't have him a little higher. I'm pretty okay with where he ended up, but I'm a little surprised.
When this movie first got announced, I had no idea how they were going to do Vulture.
Same.
This is like, in the comics, this dude looked like a bird, basically. Yep. I was like, how are they going to do this? But I was very satisfied with the way they did it. Pretty good.
Agreed.
Same. Yeah, I mean, great, outstanding casting. And he killed it. I mean, I have a few people higher than him, but overall, I thought, Vulture was one of the key points of that movie. Yeah, as I've said it a million times, not a Spider-Man guy, but Homecoming is literally top 5 for me.
Vulture has something to do with that because very good.
Yeah, and I'm a stickler for. I like all my characters kind of look like their comic counterparts, but this change was one I was like, I'm really impressed with this. I was like, they did a really good change with that, like making them look like a stealth suit, like an not army, but like an Air Force like type fighter jet type thing. I was like, that's really good. Yeah, I had no idea how they were going to do that, and also like you said, his performance was nice.
And Brandon, I remember you saying that you didn't like people who needed Geek Squad's help, but Vulture had some Geek Squad with him.
Wait, did he?
Yeah, he had because you remember he had his little like squad of people.
Yeah,
that
Shocker. Yeah, I remember Shocker.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember Shocker.
And the one dude, I guess the heavier blonde dude.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he was fixing his equipment. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But yeah, no, I agree. The suit was amazing. Looked really good. He looked like, yeah, I mean, it's an amazing movie. And yeah, they just did a really good job of like designing the suit. And then just Michael Keaton. I mean, he's Michael Keaton, so we know what time that is.
Exactly.
But yeah, that in the car scene was one of the best scenes. That whole sequence, even to the like open the door, all that, one of the greatest scenes ever. In
Yeah,
MCU
whenever he opened the door, it was like, "You must be Peter." It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
exactly, like amazing. So I mean, Vulture might need to be a little higher. I may have played him on this. This is one where I may have to rethink my
recount.
Yeah. I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine with how I have him.
Okay. Coming in at number 10, we have reached the top 10. We have Baron Zemo from Captain America Civil War. I gave Baron Zemo 25 points. Brandon gave him 21. Jordan gave him 20, and so he ended up with 66 points.
Talk about effective.
Baron Talk about effective.
That boy,
he got shit done. Oh, he got shit done.
He was making chess moves.
Yeah,
like checkers.
He broke the team.
Right.
And he killed the king of Wakanda.
Facts. Like that's on he caught a body. Like,
yeah.
Like dude changed history in Wakanda.
Yeah, like and to the point the Dora Milaje showed up in person for him.
Yeah, like he's like, we're putting the money on his head.
Yeah.
And even when he got captured, he was still a problem.
Yeah.
Like he was out the picture and he was still causing trouble.
Yeah.
Bro, he had Cap and Iron Man like really like about to like
they were about to
damn near kill him.
Yeah, like Baron Zemo had because T'Challa was about to kill Winter Soldier. Like
yes.
Ready to end him. And then of course we have Tony ready to kill him.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
The dude who played him, like,
bro,
fantastic.
And he did it in the name of revenge.
Yeah.
Like he got this much done in the name of like I'm furious at these people, so I'm going to break them from the inside.
Yeah, man.
He got all of them locked up.
Yeah, like Baron Zemo got a lot done. And he's in my favorite MCU movie. So
I was happy to see him return when we saw him in Captain America, Captain Falcon, and
it was great.
And then you got to see him put on that purple. Oh, I was waiting for him to put on a purple mask like the whole time.
Bro,
I was like, you can't have Baron Zemo without his purple mask. And then he like looks in the car, he puts it on. He's like, next time. I was like, oh
yeah.
I like that little tease.
Yeah. I'm excited to see him show back up in Thunderbolts.
Same. He was. I mean, dude just has a certain swag to him. Like when he came again, Falcon Winter Soldier. Like every episode he was in, he made the episode
so good. Better. He did.
So Baron Zemo top tier.
And just thinking about the Thunderbolts, like he's on that team. Whoever they are going against is going to have some psychological problems because he is going to mentally mess up whatever team or whatever opposition they are going against. Yep. Like he is going to outsmart them. It's going to be so. I want to see so much interaction between all these characters.
Because we have watched him again, as Brandon said, he was playing chess at a high level,
right?
To the point where he brought down the mightiest team that the Earth has to offer. Like brought them like Tony hates him now. Like
right.
Like nigga, I hate you. We're not friends anymore.
Right.
And oh goodness.
Yeah, he literally exposed Captain America's biggest biggest blemish is not telling his boy that he knew, like, his parents got killed by his best friend. Like, he exposed that. Like, that's a huge blemish on his resume. So,
also, if you think about what it took for him to actually kill the king of Wakanda, he had to have some insight. Like, he had to have that plan so hard, because the Dora Milaje probably scoped out everything, just like CIA or Secret Service. They scope out everything before they get there. So the fact that he got past the Dora Milaje and was able to kill T'Chaka is like, this guy's smart.
And then again, frame Winter Soldier for it.
Right.
And then was able to use what Winter Soldier really did.
Exactly. Man.
Yeah. He was too much. So for number 8, we have a tie.
Oh, another tie.
We have Winter Soldier from Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I gave Winter Soldier 22 points. Brandon gave Winter Soldier 18 points. Jordan gave Winter Soldier 27 points.
Jeez.
And so Winter Soldier came out to 67 points.
Hey, that guy, Timothy, he's that boy. Tell me a better fight scene. Tell me one.
I mean, no, I agree. There's no really better hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, that knife work. Ooh.
Yeah. Tell me a better scene. There's been no better fight scene to me than that scene in that movie. And Winter Soldier was a big part of that.
Winter Soldier, I mean, the movie was phenomenal. Him as a villain, I mean, he was running under a brainwash.
Thank you.
But
he caught a lot of bodies, but he definitely was under.
He was effective, but against his will. Like, these were not decisions he was making.
Exactly. Like, he wasn't like menacing on his own,
But he was effective.
He had Cap shook. Yeah, he had Cap shook. Like, Cap didn't know what to do when he was fighting him. Like, he was like, I can't do anything.
Yeah, because honestly,
and this is your boy, Brandon.
Yeah, like, if I kind of wonder, should we have called Hydra as the villain for this? But
I thought about that too.
Yeah,
like I actually thought about that.
Yeah, it crossed my mind. But he was the one doing. He was the one on the ground, like 10 toes down,
exactly,
throwing hands.
Right.
And so, I'm not trying to say that there are any negatives, but at the end of the day, like, he would probably be higher if he wasn't a puppet.
True. And I mean, I kind of have the same formula as far as Loki, like, turned into a good guy. Probably, to me, was a better good guy than bad guy, but it isn't as huge of a disparity. Because he's a really good bad guy.
To me, it's a disparity. Like, I like Winter Soldier as a good guy is so much better than Winter Soldier as a bad guy. But that's because, like, him on the good side is really good.
No, it's fun because especially I mean, just that character alone is just fun to see interact with.
Yeah.
But because I'm starting to think of that fight scene between him and T'Challa and different things. Yeah.
Like, all the fight scenes that he's in are really good. Like, I mean, Winter Soldier is a good character. And again, like, when we just do characters, he will be pretty high.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's pretty high. Like, he's tied for 8.
Yeah.
So
nice. And he wasn't even a villain for everything he was in. So that's really high.
And I have a feeling somebody is going to be pissed at who he's tied with. But we're going to see.
Okay.
Last thing I want to say is my boy Sebastian had long hair, but when he cut that hair, hey, my man was out here stealing draws on the MCU. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he like black women. Shout out to him.
Hey,
I mean, he was in Wakanda, so
getting that
Wakanda White Panther for nothing, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that because they had never seen one before, or some of them had never seen one before. They were like,
"What is
have
this
questions?"
Worm?
Yeah, this is what they talk. This is what they look like.
Oh God, that's terrible. And I'm just saying, he's a super soldier.
Hey, boy, super stamina. Hey,
he's a super soldier. That's
My boy's
all.
going through the tribe.
That's all I'm saying. Like, alcohol affects humans, but not super
And my boy got
soldiers.
that metal hand. Hey, hey,
Not wasn't even gonna bring
Hey.
up the Winter Soldier arm, but okay.
hey. I'm just saying.
So tied for 8. We have Thanos from Avengers Endgame.
Oh my God. It was Brandon. No, it was Spencer. It was Spencer. I know it was Spencer. It was Spencer.
I gave Thanos from Endgame 18 points.
I knew it.
Brandon gave Thanos 20 points.
Are y'all drunk?
Jordan gave Thanos 29 points.
Oh
Nigga,
my.
what?
So Thanos
Did you
ended
watch
with
those movies?
67 points. Now,
Houseway. This is crazy. I knew it was Spencer. I figured it was Spencer.
We decided that the Thanos that we see in Infinity War and the Thanos that we see in Endgame are very different characters and needed to be ranked as such. Jordan didn't seem to think so, but Brandon and I decided that these two did not need to be in the same place because they are two very different characters. Now, discussing the Thanos that we see in Endgame, we are talking specifically about the, I guess, 2014 version of him that
Yes. Yeah.
the 2014 version of him
That came back.
that they end up fighting against in the big, huge fight scene at the end of the movie.
Right.
So,
Yeah. With this one, I will say, you guys know I get movies confused. I will say when we start talking about it, I might mix some of the movies up. I just want to throw it out there right now.
we will clean that up for you. Do not worry. That might be why you have him as number 2. So,
what difference is there? He's in 2 movies.
yeah, let's get into it. So, this character was kind of just angry, and he was very good, but I think the problem is, in comparison to the other one, who we will talk about later on, this was just the weaker character, because whenever we look at his motivations and his reason for doing this, yes, they're the same, but we don't see that. We see the tyrant who is just trying to slaughter.
Yeah.
And in this situation, the comparison game has to be played. And so when you compare the version of this character that we see in this movie against the version that we see in the previous movie, there's a lot less character here.
Well, that's because, like, when you're young, you're angry. You get a little older, you get more wiser. That's all that is.
Yeah, and that's fine. And that wisdom, or that lack thereof, changed things significantly. Now, I still think that this was, like, seeing him go to work like young Thanos was a fucking problem on the court.
He sat there and was like, "Nah, what did he say?" He's like, sitting there, "Let them come to me."
Yeah, let them come to me.
Yeah.
Like, and where did that?
He was
bring
not
you?
worried, bro. He just think
Back
about
to
it. He
me.
got pulled from the past to this present situation that he has no idea about. He don't know any of these people, and the fact that he still put in that work against them was like, no, I am a problem. You guys are not messing with me, until he found out that he can't get messed with. But
he was smart enough to figure out, like, oh no, I like looking at this video, I did what I set out to do, and these people are trying to stop me, and I can't have that.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, he said, but that's the thing. He said, no, this time I'm not going to use the Infinity Stones to wipe out half. I'm going to use it to wipe this planet down to the atoms and rebuild it, because y'all are getting in my fucking way. Right. And so he abandons his actual mission out of spite almost. And, you know, again, when you're looking at the character, it's like, I don't, that's a weaker character to me. It is very villainy, very heavy on the villainy, but and I feel like Josh Brolin had less performing to do in this movie compared to
because he had all the boxing to do in this one.
he was throwing he's throwing hands in this movie, and that's the thing. Like that was only a section of the movie where the hands were being thrown, but he was throwing them. And so again, when you play the comparison game, or when I play the comparison game, there's a wide gap here to me.
Yeah, I mean, as y'all know, I'm a huge Thanos fan. I've probably, if you ask me, like the character I've read the most about is Thanos, and in this one, his motivations were great, but I just feel like as compared to the one we got in Infinity War, just the one in Infinity War did everything the same. He was smart. He had a plan. He executed it. He has some fire bars. Like he was spitting, but he just did everything 10 times better than Infinity War. Not saying Endgame one was bad or anything. He actually did an excellent job, and he caught up on the information halfway through, and still damn near still won. However, I just feel like the one in Endgame executed everything else better.
I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. He almost won. He tried to snap his fingers. He thought he had it.
Yeah, I mean, he was one snap away. Like, homie was real close. And just pull up in the Avengers spot and just ran.
And he did a lot of sabotaging too. Like, there was when the Avengers would try to do stuff, like there was a lot of shit that he stopped from happening.
Right.
And so, okay. All right. At number 7, we have the Mandarin from Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. I gave the Mandarin 20 points. Brandon gave the Mandarin 27 points. Jordan gave the Mandarin 21 points. And so the Mandarin came out to 68 points.
I'm not mad at it. I really want to know, like, if it's just us who really like the Mandarin, or did other people like him as well? Because I thought he was great.
I did too.
His performance, motivation, loved it. But I wonder, like, are we just over exaggerating it a little bit, or was he really that good?
I think, if I had to guess, he is probably not in most people's top 10. Or if he is, he's like 9, 10. Like he's not very high in people's top 10s. I feel like that's that's probably the general consensus. But also on the flip side to that coin, because of Marvel's misuse and mismanagement of villains, he's one of the good ones at the end of the day. And so he probably does pretty okay, but I don't know how many people's top 10 he's gonna crack.
I think so. Like, he's one of my favorite villains. He's one of the best parts of Shang-Chi to me. Any part, like, even start with the flashbacks. Anytime he's in it, is the movie is like better to me. And so, to me, the Mandarin, they did a really good job of, retconning from Iron Man 3 and really executing in this movie. Yeah, man. Like, to me, he's, again, I have number 4. I thought he was top tier.
Yeah, like giving us an actual the Mandarin. Really happy with that.
Dude, he pulled up with a young Shang-Chi into that little bar or whatever.
Yeah.
Beat them dudes, blew them dudes away.
Yep.
Yeah. But like he wanted out the game. Like
yeah,
he was
that's
out the game.
He because we see this all the time. They get out the game, they're good, they find love, they're happy, and something pulls them back in.
Yep.
And he wanted to hang up the gloves. He wanted to raise his family peacefully. He wanted to age with his wife.
Yeah, right. For you to be immortal and was like, no, I want to age with my wife.
I want to grow old with this woman because she beat my ass and I'm in love now.
No, she really did.
Yeah, she beat his ass and he was like, I'm gonna marry this woman.
This is the one.
That's all I needed. And so the fact that Yeah, they pulled him back in because I love a revenge movie.
Yeah.
And this man, he put his gloves back on and got straight to it.
Yep. He knew exactly who it was, who did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
and
like
he said, son,
yeah,
you're in the business now.
exactly. This is how you handle business.
And that's
But-
like he, for a full millennium, was like running things
Yep.
in the shadows, and like he, built himself an empire, and he was, he was a problem for, again, 1,000 years.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Shang-Chi, but to me, if you were going to make the argument for it being top 10, I don't think it is. But if you were going to make the argument, I think it would mainly be because of the Mandarin. That would be your main sticking point. Because otherwise, don't see it.
Yeah. And then also, his kind of motivation coming in through I hear my wife calling to me and I'm going to get her out.
Exactly. Very understandable. Very understandable.
Yeah. Like that's husband shit. Like,
yeah,
I'm
like
gonna do whatever I can.
Go get her. Exactly.
Yeah. Till death do, like, for better or for worse, through thick and through thin.
He even said till death do his part. He was like, "Yeah, death. I'm gonna go get her after death too."
Yeah, like she not dead. I hear her.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to get her.
And that's what I think the mistake they made was making it a little too supernatural at the end. And kind of
agreed.
As far as the movie goes, yeah. Like,
but yeah, like even making him a little, I don't know. But yeah, overall, yeah, I thought he really killed it. Their performance was amazing. I had never seen the actors work before, but killed it.
Okay. Excellent. So, coming in at number 6, speaking of performances, we have the Green Goblin from Spider-Man No Way Home. I gave the Green Goblin 26 points. Brandon gave the Green Goblin 22. Jordan gave 23. The Green Goblin ended up with 71.
Yeah, we're all about the same.
Yeah, pretty consistent.
I think I was. Oh, what was I about to say? I was gonna say I think I said every single time we talk about this movie, but the point where Peter realizes that something's going on, and then you see the snap in Green Goblin, like that was great.
Yeah, that Spidey sense was a tingling.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, one of the questions that I had while watching this movie is how complicit was Norman Osborn? Like, are Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin in cahoots, or is Norman actually innocent and like not involved? Because Norman Osborn, not a great dude.
right.
But this is the MCU, so we don't know. And we can see that this is a hard split personality situation. I mean, and we saw that in the first Spider-Man movie as well. But again, because Norman Osborn is kind of nefarious, I wonder if how in control was the Green Goblin the whole time?
Right.
How complicit was Norman Osborn? And that's the thing. Willem Dafoe's performance brought me to those questions. Like, I will never know how involved Norman was, or how uninvolved Norman was, or how in control of the situation Norman was. And yeah, Willem Dafoe was shooting for an Oscar in that movie. Like, I was worried. And as Brandon said, caught a body, and an important body.
Yeah. Most important body of Spider-Man's life to that point.
And I mean, that Spider-Man franchise,
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like to be a villain, like I give him credit, like to be a villain for a very short period of time of a movie, and to then make the top 10, damn near top 5. Like that's big time. Like he wasn't a villain very long. Yeah. Like he wasn't a villain very long in that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
because that movie had a lot to do and a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people in it. And yeah, the fact that he made it here with all of that going on speaks to how good he was.
And don't even get us started on when he was fighting Peter in the hallway after he did that snap, throwing Peter through walls, through the floor.
It was WWE. Like,
And that's the thing.
all
yeah.
slams.
He was cheesing the whole time.
Exactly.
I was like,
Yeah,
Laughing.
getting hit.
like you
smiling.
are a crazy person.
Yeah, bro.
And he was such a good villain that Peter was willing to break it took other Peters stopping him because he was going to catch a body. He was prepared to finish him.
Yep.
And it took another Peter Parker saying, no, this isn't you.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But yeah, that's it. He was such a villain that Tom Holland was ready to say, no, fuck him.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Like you brought up, man, that snap scene was
that
crazy.
Was fantastic.
That snap scene was top tier.
Yeah, and again, Willem Dafoe was shooting for an Oscar in that movie. Like, Willem Dafoe didn't have to do him like that in this movie.
He didn't.
And he was like, nah, I got some acting for your ass.
Exactly. Yeah, he was probably waiting to redo that role again.
Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah. I got a trick for
I got an MCU budget?
Oh yeah.
Put in work. Yeah.
He's like, they're going to see my face one more time on Disney? Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
Exactly. And then to mention also is like, I told you guys, I'm a stickler for, comic accurate characters. Once you saw him kind of fighting, his hoodie started to get tore up, caught fire a little bit, and then you finally see the green and purple. You're like, I see it now.
Yeah.
He's the Green Goblin. I see it.
Yep.
So it was great.
Because, yeah, there were a lot of people that thought in the trailers, there were a lot of people that thought it was the Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin,
right.
So, yeah, he that was so good. So top five. We have reached the top five. Gentlemen, at number 5, we have the High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I gave the High Evolutionary 27 points. Brandon gave 24. Jordan gave 22. And so the High Evolutionary ended with 73 points. Brandon, I remember you saying you had some opinions here, or you had some opinions that kind of went against the audience at large.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, when the movie initially dropped, people were like, High Evolutionary, one of the greatest villains out. Like, oh my God, High Evolutionary. And I'm just like, watching it, was he good? Yes. But did he do anything that was super
villainous? Yeah.
Yeah,
he did. He did.
Yeah,
he literally had a whole entire planet to show you that he was villainous.
Villainous, yes. Is he a despicable, a terrible fucking guy? Absolutely. Yes. And I think that what, because for me, that's what got him this high was the fact that he was one of, because how we just, we talked about a misutilization of villains and not wanting them to die and be used later and all that. I was like, no, kill this motherfucker right now.
Yeah, he had to die.
He was the worst kind of he's the kind of villain that you just hate. There are some villains that you're like, I agree with this person. I like this person. I want to see more from this person. He was the kind of villain that's like, no, fuck this guy. I need justice in the form of execution. He was the guy that you were like, no, please kill him. I never want to see this dude again because he is a horrible, awful, disgusting, just the worst kind of guy. And I think that is what got him here, if I had to guess, because people have a very sensitive spot for animals.
That's what I was about to say.
That's why I think he's so high for a lot of people.
But I'm just saying, think about it. He started with animals. He made his way up to humans. We saw he had kids already running some tests on them. He's ready to start a whole new world with this whole new batch of kids that he's about to experiment on. He probably has already experimented on them. He destroyed his whole planet of experiments.
Yeah, the way that he treated Rocket, the way that he treated Rocket's friends, and the way that he basically said, yeah, I tried it, and all of these living creatures who are just living their lives and just trying to be regular on this earth that I created for them, by the way, they're just not doing it for me. So I'm just gonna blow this shit up, start over.
Bro,
because
nonchalantly.
yeah, like
blow it
just
up.
yeah, like throw in the trash.
Yeah.
We'll run it again. And it was nothing. It was nothing to him. And then again, whenever they went through the lines like you're not a god, and he was pretty much like, yes, I am. I saw that the perfect creature didn't exist, so I decided that I'll do it myself.
Yeah, he's like, God is
just
taking
feel
a break.
like
I got you.
Okay, and so
I don't know. I just feel like he didn't get the other top 5 villains we have. We kind of understood. I mean, I guess he has motivations, but we kind of understood what created those motivations.
That's the only knock I have against him.
We don't really know why. I mean, yeah, he wants to improve people, but it's like, what got him there?
And
that's
I
the only
think,
knock I got against him.
Like the way I saw it, it was a matter of seeing the imperfections and wanting to create it was a compulsion to create the perfect specimen or the perfect life form, the perfect society, and all of that. So I think that this is like a pretty standard case of narcissism at the highest level.
True. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just think when we're comparing the guys, the people who are coming up, it's tough to compare because he did some wild stuff.
I'm not mad at you for that opinion, but again,
like,
the reason he was so high for me is because we discussed in the first episode, there are a lot of ways to rank a villain. There are a lot of things that you can use to decide how you feel about a villain, where a villain ranks, and how much you like or dislike a villain. And for me, him being so awful is what got him here. Because for some of the villains, the fact that I agreed with them is why they got where they are. For some of them, their motivations are why they got where they are. For some of them, the performance is why they got where they are. But for him, he was so awful.
Yeah.
Like he was the worst kind of person, or the worst kind of being, or whatever the fuck he is. I think he's just a guy.
That's my thing. That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
I don't think anymore, but I think starting out, he was maybe just a guy. I don't know.
He probably definitely performing experiments on himself.
Yeah, I think he was just a man, and
because he had powers though.
Yeah,
he did.
He blew that whole area up. Remember?
I'm not as familiar with High Evolutionary.
Yeah, me neither.
The comics.
Yeah. So, hard to say. But the reason he got where he was for me was very specifically because I hated him.
I mean, makes sense.
Like he was awful. And the way that he was, his narcissism that led into his jealousy of Rocket and being like, how the fuck did you figure this out? I couldn't do it and you could, and I don't like it, but also I love it, and I'm really glad that you did, but also I hate you for it. And but you're still an abomination. Like, you still ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. And so I need your brain. The rest of you, fuck it. But I need your brain, so I'm gonna we'll just dissect it. I'll just take it out and do what I need to do with it. And then whenever Rocket started jigging and making a key card, and he was like, I knew you were going to do this. So, you're not going to do it. Yeah. And then he killed his friends. My
boy killed Teefs. My boy killed Floor. My boy killed Lila.
Yeah.
Technically, he didn't kill them.
No, he killed Lila.
He got G-babies.
Well, no, Lila got shot.
Yeah. And he was like, all right, come on, let's get over with the Rocket. Like, come on, stop trying.
And that's the thing. That also made him a terrible, Rocket was distraught. He was like, all right, enough of that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, get up. Come on, get up. Like, stop it. Making a scene, crying. Yeah, he was the worst kind of person. And yeah, he was one that I was like, nah, kill him.
No, I get it.
So, yeah. That's how he got where he was. But yeah, like not in GOAT region.
Nah.
But very, very good. I mean, I ranked him at 4, so you know. Coming in at number 4, we have Kang. We'll say Kang the Conqueror, but we have Kang from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania. That's what that movie's called, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I gave Kang 23. Brandon gave Kang 26. Jordan gave Kang 25. So at just 1 point over, Kang ended up with 74.
This one I like because we got a full. We kind of know the beginning and the middle. Obviously, we know the end. A little bit of the end, I guess, of that version of Kang. But like, we got the motivation. We got a lot of things from this performance, and he just every time he's on the screen, the movie got better.
Yeah, those monologues, man. He was hitting those.
Yeah,
he
you
was
want to
hitting.
say somebody was spitting? Oh yeah. And for me, this was the performance carried a lot of this for me.
Yeah,
a lot of the movie.
Yeah, like Jonathan Majors has a lot to do with how Kang ended up here, rather than like Kang himself.
And I mean that's true.
I mean, you may have known, like, Kang for me, yeah, he was top 10, but he was on the lower end. And I would not have put Kang this high. Well, I didn't put Kang this high, but we did get a lot from him. And I think that he had the advantage of he is supposed to be the next big bad. And so there's been a lot of like building done for him. Like he's what they're building for, building toward, and building to. And with that being the case, he got a lot of help. And so I think that he had that advantage on his side in this situation, because again, there are some people we have already talked about that I think were better than him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jordan.
I was gonna say they had no solution for him. They had to come up with some BS, quantumanium, ants taking over. They aged 1,000 years, whatever Hank said. But other than that, they had no answer for Kang.
Yeah, Kang was a problem to the point where he got banished to the quantum realm, and then he took over the quantum realm.
That's like
with nothing.
That's my thing. Yeah, like I feel like out of all let's say our top 8, he had to carry his movie a lot more than the rest of these guys. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this movie was ass if it was no Kang.
No. Oh yeah, without Kang, yeah.
Without Kang,
100%
trash.
In the top 10, this is the worst movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, my dude had to carry. I mean, I like Ant-Man, but nobody really gave a damn about what Ant-Man was doing. We came to see what Kang's talking about.
I think people like Ant-Man.
The character of the movie.
First one. The movie. The first
one.
Yeah,
most people like the first one. But looking at the movies in the top 10, most of those movies are in somebody's top 10. Like, all of them top 12, top 13. This movie is in a lot of people's like 20, 21 spot.
Right.
Like creeping into the bottom 10. And for anybody that it's not, he's why it's not.
Right. His back hurts because he was carrying his damn movie. Like, that's kind of why I have him so high, is because, like, my man had to give a performance to make this movie bearable.
And that's true. As far as, like, because we talk about effectiveness, but his effectiveness on the movie, probably the like number one.
Yeah.
As far as like, or I'd say top 3 as far as like him being in the movie.
Carry it.
Yeah, like if you take him out, no.
Yeah, this is awful.
I'm just, like I said, they had no solution for him. Like they had nothing. Yeah, they had nothing. And mind you, Jonathan Majors too. When you see him lose his armor a little bit, hey man, he was swole. Like that Creed movie had him looking good.
Yeah, he was on his Creed shit.
Yeah,
but
I mean, but shout out to Cerise. She called him a butterface. So
She
yeah,
definitely did.
so that we saw that. We saw that here.
That's
'Cause
hilarious.
He has a he definitely has a civil rights face.
Oh shit.
Oh
shit.
man.
That's what the streets say.
Civil rights face. I've never heard that before. That's hilarious.
That's what the streets
Yeah.
say. That's yeah.
I kind of remember a lot of buzz before the movie came out. Well, when the movie first got announced, I should say that Jonathan Majors' black character playing Kang. I remember a lot of people was mad because I was like, no, black man can't play Kang. But then you think about every time we've seen Kang, he's blue, so it's like it doesn't even matter. I wonder if those people now are like, he shouldn't have been Kang. Like, I wonder if anybody's like, he wasn't a good Kang. I don't know anybody who said that.
I don't either.
I think that more people are disappointed with the stuff happening in the news because we won't get any more of him. Like, I think, more people are like, oh no, we're never going to see him again, rather than people being like, I told you we shouldn't have got them niggers in there.
Yeah, I'm really, I actually had a conversation about this today. I really hope that Marvel and, Jonathan Majors figure out something. Because one, on both sides, they're going to lose. Marvel's going to lose a lot. Also, obviously, Jonathan Majors is going to lose a lot as well.
I hope that he is innocent and did not do what they said he did.
Right.
I for all the reasons. Like, I of course want him to be innocent, but I am hoping that somebody was not hurt by this man because have you seen him?
Yeah.
He gonna kill that poor girl.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a Johnny Depp situation. Could not be. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. So I am hoping that he did not get physical with anyone, and that this is all just accusations and money grabs and all that. Like, I'm not trying to step into any victim blaming or anything, but I am hoping that he's innocent so that we can continue to get this, but also so that no one was abused.
Right. But yeah, I mean, Marvel, I don't know, man. I'm hoping, I haven't heard anyone ever be like, man, that was a bad performance or anything. So I think they hit it out the park as far as the casting goes, and we'll see how all that other stuff develops. But
yeah, I think more people are upset that we may never see him again, which speaks to how good the performance was. Because when we look at his performance in Loki and we look at his performance in this, and we were gonna see a bunch of different versions of him and see how that goes, because that was one of the things I was worried about, is how well will he do having to wear so many hats, literally.
Yeah.
And I think he was the guy to do it, from what I could tell. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 3, and the top 3, there's a hard divide. Like, there's a full 10 points between 4 and 3.
Okay.
So it was a hard top 3, and then it was, up in the air from there. At top 3, we have Eric Stevens, aka Killmonger from Black Panther. We each gave him 28 points. So we each have him at our number 3 spot, giving him 84 points. So literally, we all agree he's number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we understand his motivations. We identify with his motivations.
Yeah. On a different level.
It was great.
Yeah.
We identify with him more than most other people can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he was effective. Yeah, he was effective. I mean, he took down Wakanda. He stopped the Black Panther line from continuing until, Shuri came up with the things she did. But like, there was going to be no more Black Panther. He became Black Panther, took down, T'Challa. So, I mean, he was very effective in my opinion.
I don't think there are any negatives to speak of.
Right.
Yeah. And I think
look great.
Exactly. And I think just I would say maybe out of all these villains, maybe like top 20 at least, he had the least known character from the comics, the least material to use from comics to a movie, and he made Killmonger a household name. Like the only reason people know who Killmonger is for Michael B. Jordan's performance. Nobody was like, "Yo, I can't wait to see that first Black Panther," because Killmonger's the villain. You know what I mean? So he definitely
because he
made him house, like everyone knows him now.
He made Claw irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
And Claw is the Black Panther villain that most people are aware of, or that most people would say is his main nemesis. And Killmonger, like who?
Exactly. They knew they could get rid of Claw because they knew they had something bigger.
Yeah, and
how excited was everybody when he reappeared in Black Panther 2? Like he showed up in a dream. Everybody was like, "Oh,
yeah." I was not ready for that.
Yeah, same.
I wasn't ready for that one bit, and I'm really glad they did it. Yeah, and he looked great. All the tattoo scars, like all the Zaz scars that he had.
Yep.
It was all bodies.
That was good. Everything. He was spitting facts in the museum. I needed that.
Yep.
The fact that whenever Claude got his girl, and he was like, "Don't worry, honey, you're gonna be all right." Oh,
yeah.
He said, "Fuck these hoes."
Yeah, that was the most even when he killed Claude, that was the most outside of the MCU type of scene we've ever seen. That's not something you usually see from Marvel.
Dragged his body through the African wilderness to the
exactly.
gate.
He's just like, here.
Yeah, he's like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, "Hey, auntie."
Exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And again, the fact that he said, "No, I'm the king. Ain't gonna be no more kings. Burn it."
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh God, all of the check marks. Like, do I agree with him? Yes. Is he despicable? Yes.
Yep. Did he catch some bodies?
Did he catch bodies all over the place? Was this an excellent performance? Yes. Like he checks all the boxes.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, like the only thing is he wasn't super comic book accurate, but that's not an issue for me.
I was completely fine with it.
Yeah, like
in this case, it was an enhancement.
Yeah, like he didn't
because
need
other than
to
that,
be.
he just ain't got no shirt on most of the time.
Because they made him normal human size because Killmonger in the comic books is massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine. Like him and T'Challa being roughly the same size made the fight better.
Yeah, it felt like a Lion King Scar type thing. Yeah.
The only knock I got against him though, which isn't his fault, is that he was killed in the movie. That's it. I would love to see him reappear again.
And he kind of did a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit in the afterlife.
Because him and I will say, What If wasn't spectacular, but him and What If,
amazing,
very good. Like he was a problem in What If, and like What If kind of demonstrated like how intelligent and tactical he is.
Right. Because he took down Tony Stark.
I'm saying like we know that, but we don't really get to see it. We just kind of hear about it. But in this, no, we watch him be a problem.
Yep.
And so Killmonger, he was too much, but he was only number 3. At number 2, we have Namor from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I gave God. I gave 30 points. Brandon gave him 29. Jordan gave him 26, and so he came out with 85.
Jordan.
Now, I'm fine with this because he still ended up at number 2, and I knew he'd end up at number 2. I was prepared for him to end up at number 2. Y'all know me. He was my number 1. I have talked about that on the review. He was too much. He is my favorite MCU villain. Again, he checks all of the boxes. And he lived.
Yep.
And I know that there was one point where Jordan talked about potential, and this is one area where that applies because, again, he lives in the movie and we see his cousin getting pissed off at him and him basically saying, no, this is strategic. I am playing chess with the most powerful nation on land because I know that they are going to need us. And I want to have that positive relationship because, again, the fact that I almost died is a problem for me. But that lets me know how serious they are. And that if anyone can do it, it's them. And with that being the case, we need to make sure that we have an understanding. So I think that the potential for this character in this world is limitless. And that definitely helps with putting him as number one for me. But you want to talk about a performance? Thanos? Fantastic. You want to talk about effective? He brought Wakanda to its knees with little effort.
Right.
You want to talk about bodies? He caught the queen of the most powerful nation.
Yeah.
And he was even great. And you want to talk about motivation? He said, I need my people to be okay. He said, y'all are the reason we are here. And I cannot have these surface dwellers, these colonizers, these people coming into my home and trying to pillage and rape and destroy. I have seen it and I will not have it. Take care of it or I will.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the reason I have him a little lower on my list
is because he's Mexican.
Yeah, that was wild. I did not expect Spencer to say that. That's a Brandon comment. I did not expect Spencer to pull that out on. But no, man, they changed his history. That was knocked a lot of points down for me.
What?
The man is not from Talikon. He's not.
So because they didn't call it Atlantis, he ended up lower.
He suffers. I'm sorry. Hey,
Atlantis again is not beholden to Marvel.
And
I'm sorry. Hey.
And along with that, I think there are a lot of changes that are for the better and that are a good thing. And in my opinion, this was a better change because them doing that allowed him to be affected by colonization. And that's what allowed us to get here. Like they added more layers, they added more depth to this character by not having him be from Atlantis.
No, just call it Atlantis. Call
it's
him Atlantis.
Better,
nigga. Why would you call it Atlantis?
Literally, it's how I just said it's because he's Mexican. It's actually because he's Mexican.
Exactly.
You're just not saying it.
If you call it Atlantis, you remove all culture. He's just a man who's tan and has no culture. Nah. Like, not against black people. You need someone with culture. And my thing is, you act like you actually give a fuck about Namor. You don't.
And then the fact that y'all just call him Namor.
That's his name in the movie.
That's another strike. I'm sorry.
I just don't understand.
So it's because he's Mexican. It's literally because
I'm sorry.
It's because he's Mexican.
The conservative mindset towards these things, and you don't even care about these characters, is wild to me. It'd be different if this was X-Men, and you were like, bro, you can't change it. You know,
well, he's kind of part of X-Men. He was the first mutant.
You don't give a damn. He ain't ever had no X patch on him, so you don't care.
I'm sorry. He has actually, man. Don't do that. He has. I'm sorry, man. He's not.
And the problem is, there's a whole lot of other comic book shit that was changed and that's not accurate, but this is the one.
Yeah, this is, you gotta die on.
No, it's kind of like when you first fall in love with a rapper. And he's repping Atlanta. I'm Atlanta this, and then you find out he's really from Chicago. You feel betrayed a little bit, and
what tie do you have to Atlantis?
He's a mutant, so that's my tie right there.
Those
that has nothing to do with Atlantis.
Those are completely unrelated because he said he was in the movie. He said he was a mutant, so we got that. He is a mutant. We got the mutant part, and the mutant part is what you're saying you have a problem with. Yet,
I'm sorry.
You're saying that Atlantis.
You're apologizing
for just being.
Again, you're saying I'm sorry, but you're not explaining anything.
I am going to die on this hill. He needs to be from Atlantis.
Why?
That's just the character.
Because someone old ass person put it in a book that they got it from Aquaman.
Hey, some people say cucumber tastes better pickled.
Also, Atlantis is not. My thing is, it'd be different if this was a Marvel property. If he was from a Marvel property and then they changed it. Atlantis is not beholden to anyone. Atlantis has been
Atlantis exists outside of everything.
Yeah, like so many different IPs.
I'm sorry. Hey, this IP should have called it Atlantis.
Because
again, logic is just not going to get there. We're not going to get there. It's fine.
We're not, because the number one, his whole comic book shit was changed, and that's not a problem. His number two, whole comic book shit was changed, not a problem.
Yep.
Who was your number three? Your number three, comic book shit was changed. That's fine. That's okay.
I'm sorry. Once you put that X on your chest, you have to stick to whatever.
Wait, so why don't you have a problem with Killmonger?
I don't give a fuck about Killmonger as much as I don't give a fuck about. Wait. Right. Let me explain it. I don't give a fuck about Killmonger, but I also don't care about Namor. But I care about Namor more than I care about Killmonger.
But why?
Because Namor was rocking. Because Namor was rocking the X on him. X gonna give it to you, baby. I got to ride for them.
This nigga's a Republican when it comes to X-Men.
I feel strong about X-Men characters as much as Brandon feels strong about the right-wing Captain America.
The reason it's so absurd is because you're saying that him being a mutant is why, and he's a mutant in the movie. If they had said he was not a mutant, or if mutant didn't come up, then okay, you're making sense here. But the fact that he said that he was a mutant in this movie, and you're saying that the reason you care is because he's a mutant, and they gave you that.
He should have said, I am a mutant from the nation of Atlantis. But instead, he said Telecom. And the fact that he keeps saying Namor, no, that's triggering as much as people saying Shang-Chi.
It's because he's Mexican.
No.
It's because he's Mexican. Okay.
Yeah, he's mad he gave him some culture. He's mad about that.
I don't get it.
No, also, are we using the correct term? Aren't they called Latin Americans? They're from the Aztecs. Aren't they Latin?
Thanos is Mexican. I'm pretty sure Thanos is Mexican. I will confirm that.
Look at that. Y'all being racist. You're just assuming that they're Mexican.
No, I'm actually pretty sure he's Mexican.
I mean, it's indigenous, but yeah, it's indigenous people everywhere.
Yeah, Thanos is Mexican. And the whole thing with their colonization was from Spaniards.
Spain. Yeah.
So, but yeah, the actor who played him is Mexican.
Okay. I give it to you.
I knew that in my heart, but I had to check.
I give it to you.
We can move on.
We good.
I think we have to move on because we're never going to get anywhere. And that's
another character
that's how arguing with Jordan goes.
Origin is totally different.
So yeah, number one, who I guess Jordan also doesn't give a fuck about, is Thanos from Avengers Infinity War. I gave Thanos 29 points. Jordan and Brandon gave Thanos 30 points. So if not for me, Thanos would have ended up with a perfect score, but he came out with 89 points.
I really thought that was going to be everybody's number one, to be honest with you.
I'm sure you did, but I don't have a problem with Mexicans.
Oh, boy.
I feel like Jordan... I feel like Spenser did say that was his favorite, so I kind of expected him. It was a toss-up, I thought. But yeah, Thanos, probably my favorite. I mean, obviously, Cap is in a different category, but yeah, Thanos is my favorite, one of my favorite characters, and I've read the most about him. And they changed his story, as we know. Right? It had nothing to do with death, had nothing to do with any of that.
But that's fine. That's okay. He's not from Atlantis, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, they killed it. Like, they told his story well. His motivations were well thought out. I thought they did a really good job of not just showing like Thanos can beat people up, but he's like a thinker. He like makes chess moves. Like, he makes other people do his bidding before he gets out of his chair. So Yeah.
And this Thanos was just so good for all of the reasons that Brandon named. The fact that he, like, as far as motivations go, he literally wanted to save the universe. Like, that's
Right.
actually what he wanted.
Right.
His means were,
A little questionable.
questionable, but his
He had good
motivations and
intentions.
but his reason for doing it, like, he genuinely wanted happiness, peace, and like safety.
Yeah.
He wanted all of the positive things to come from this, and the way he went about doing it, he felt was the least painful,
Mhm.
the least invasive, almost. Like, he thought that it was the most merciful way to handle this. And yeah, like, as far as his motivations go, like, that's top tier. That's hard to argue with. He said, I know how I can save the universe, and I want to do it with the least bloodshed possible,
Which I
but I'm
understand,
going to
man.
do it.
Yeah,
More
I
resources.
understand. And he did it. He didn't say he
Yeah, he
wasn't
did
doing it. He did it.
Yeah, executed the plan.
And he went to go sit down at the end of the movie. He was like,
Yeah,
I'm
he said,
done.
I
I'm
can
retired.
rest. And
Yep.
yeah, he started like planting his little crops or whatever.
Yeah, turned into a farmer.
Yeah. So yeah, he was too much. And again, like, the bars he was spitting, the performance from Josh Brolin, everything about it, the way that he fought with the Infinity Stones, like, he was too much. The
Yep.
way he pieced up Hulk had
Yeah.
him scared to show his face.
My boy
Got him
couldn't
up out
turn
of there.
green no more. Yeah.
Like,
Got him up out of there.
Hulk got bitched, and
Yeah.
no one has ever done that.
Right.
And yeah, Thanos did it without much effort.
Yeah, you should, like, first time we saw him in that movie, like, it already destroyed
Yeah,
a lot of people in Asgard.
Yeah, he destroyed Asgard.
Right.
And had Thor on his knees.
Right. Merc Loki. Yes.
Yeah, Heimdall was first, and I didn't like that.
Same.
I didn't love that either.
Yeah,
but...
like, so we just had to Black had to be the first body. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Merc, Heimdall and Loki in the first few minutes had Hulk shooketh, left Thor to die in the vacuum of space. And
yeah.
And his squad was a problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had that level of power working for him, I mean, also including Ronan.
Right. Loki, all these dudes.
That just shows, like, he is that much of a problem.
Caught the most bodies in history.
Yeah.
He's Himothy, I'm telling you. He's him.
The important bodies. He wiped half of existence, not even just Earth, existence. Like, so every planet everywhere in this giant universe, he snapped half of them away. So if you want to also talk about successful, he literally got it done. He did.
This might have been the first MC movie to make me shed a tear. With the I don't feel so good, Mr. Yeah, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Mr. Stark.
Okay, yeah.
Like, yeah, that one caught me. That one caught me.
I'm trying to think of the first. It'd be a while. I have to think about it, but yeah. Definitely had a lot of moments in there.
Yeah.
Game.
But yeah, this is he's I have no objection to him coming in at number one. Like, I'm not surprised. I am perfectly fine with that. Because he was too much. So, to review, at number 15, we had Ultron from Avengers Age of Ultron. At 14, we had Red Skull from Captain America, the First Avenger. At 13, we have Hela from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, a damn shame.
Tied for 11, we have Loki from Thor and the Avengers And we have Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Ultra. It's my bad, fam. My bad.
Coming in at number 10, we had Baron Zemo from Captain America Civil War.
Real.
Tied at number 8, we have Winter Soldier from Captain America Winter Soldier and Thanos from Avengers Endgame.
All right.
Coming in at 7, we have the Mandarin from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. At 6, we have the Green Goblin from Spider-Man No Way Home. At 5, we have the High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. At 4, we have Kang the Conqueror from Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. At number 3, we have Killmonger from Black Panther. At number 2, we have Namor from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And at number 1, we have Thanos from Avengers Infinity War.
Really good list overall.
I think we did okay.
Yeah. We did a good job. We had a lot more like close ones than I thought, which is good.
And, there was, I think, generally speaking, we agreed. And this kind of went the same way the other list did. Like the top was kind of locked in. The middle was all over the place and the bottom was kind of locked in.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think that for the bottom, like 6, we all agreed on single digits.
Yeah.
And then things got interesting around Yon-Rogg and Malekith.
Yeah.
And things were interesting up until like the Mandarin and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think just because they don't have as many great villains, it kind of left room for a lot of variables.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as is always the case, the middle was probably the most interesting and had the most disparity within the league. So if there are any lists that you want us to create, if there are any official LMG podcast rankings that you need, you know where you can tell us on the socials.
Nice.
You can tell us on our Facebook group. You can tell us on the Twitter. You can tell us on YouTube. Let us know if there are any other rankings that you need. Let us know what your MCU villain ranking is. If you agree, if you think anyone was misplaced, if you think anyone should be higher or lower, why that is. You can tell us what you think about Brandon's Red Skull take. You can tell us what you think about Jordan's take on Namor. You can tell us all of these things and more if you so desire.
All right, fellas. That's it for this episode. So we're never duplicated.
Always appreciate it.
And forever melanated.